Hey there guys, and welcome to another Kings of Chaos tutorial slash guide video. This one we're going to be going over kind of some of the intricacies and things in the game that may not be blatantly clear that can actually really help you out. And like I said, a lot of people don't know them, especially if you're new, like if you just joined from one of the previous videos I did, and you're new to the game, you may not know a lot of this stuff. So we're going to head into this. Really quickly, I do want to mention, if you are interested in joining the game and you haven't seen my video explaining the game, go check that out. And I also did a tutorial on recruiting or clicking, which will get you soldiers, and I'll kind of explain a little bit more about that in this video. But if you do want to join the game, you're more than welcome to. I would love to have you come join and play with me and just grow the game in general. It's a great game, old school, but really fun. Definitely some strategy and stuff in it. And it's got new devs which are actively updating it and such, which is really nice. And there will be a link below in the description you use to join, which will give me a little bit of a bonus, and it will automatically kind of group us together. And just make it much easier than going there yourself and then trying to find me and all this stuff. You can use that link. So let's get into it. First off, let's look at the armory. So there's some stuff here that is maybe not so apparent. If you really look closely and kind of map things out, it will be. But with everything else going on here, it's very easy to overlook. So basically this comes down to what you should buy for the highest efficiency for your gold to weapon strength, essentially. If we look at all this, you'll notice that mainly the ones we're going to look at here are the last two for both these attack and defense weapons. You'll notice that a chariot gives you 600 weapon strength, okay? And weapon strength is basically, it's a strength, and then it's modified by a lot of different things. Your race bonus, your siege and fortification upgrades down here, your technology, which you get in the training center, and all that stuff. But basically, you can just go off these base values for what I'm going to show you. So we notice this is 600. We also notice this costs 450,000 gold. And the black powder missile is 1,000 strength and costs 1,000,000 gold. Now, initially, at least for me when I first started, I was like, okay, well, it's the strongest weapon. Boom, let's get it. However, if you do the math, this is actually far more efficient, because you can get 2 chariots for 900,000 gold, and it's actually going to be giving you 1,200 strength over the 1,000 of the missile and cost you 50,000 less gold for it. So you compound that out multiple times, and you can actually fit in a few extra chariots, because of that 50,000 you saved each time, and have way more strength doing that than just getting the missiles. Basically, the only downside is you're going to have more weapons in general, which means more soldiers and potentially more repair costs. But that's very negligible compared to the benefit. And then the same thing applies to defense weapons. You'll notice dragon skins are 256 strength, and they cost 200 grand to get, whereas the invisibility shield is 1,000 and costs 1,000,000. Well, we can get 5 of these for the cost of 1 of these, and because I can't math in my head at the moment, 256 times 5 is going to give us 1,280, right? So this is actually going to be 1,280 strength instead of the 1,000, which you would get for the same price. Okay, so that does not apply to like any of these spy tools or anything. As soon as you can, you just want to be getting the nunchaku and lookout tower. But for defense and attack, these are definitely much more value to you for the gold you put in. Also, if you're using the script that comes with the alliance we're in, which I highly recommend getting, like I said before, it's completely safe, it's legit, it's allowed in the game. If you do get that, and it's in my commander notice, in your command center, you will have something very similar to this from me, and it will give you instructions on how to get it as well as the clicker. But if you have the script, and you go to your armory, it'll show you this, as well as some other numbers. But what I'm going to show you here is this upgrade table. And this is very helpful. This will kind of guide you a bit on when to upgrade your siege and fortification things, if you have to sell stuff to do it. If you don't have to sell stuff to do it, it doesn't really matter when you do it, to my understanding, unless they've changed some stuff. But later on you will have to, because you can't just hold 25 million gold without being attacked, right? So, you can't just like attack 15 different people and try to save up the gold just like in your current gold stash here, for like these higher upgrades, what you need to do is what we call banking it. There's no actual bank in the game, but you do it through weapons. So you would just buy weapons from your attacks and then sell them off, however many you need to sell off for the gold. Now you do take a 30% loss when you sell something, but it's obviously better than trying to just hold it and then get attacked and lose all of it. So if you are getting upgrades by selling things, which you will need to later, this will tell you when it's profitable and what to use to sell with. So like currently, it's not profitable for me to get any of these upgrades by selling. Now, I maybe would want war elephants if I can just hold the 3.2 million gold and just buy it. But you know, again, the later ones you won't be able to do that. So checking this out is really helpful because it will cover IS's invisibility shields, black powder missiles, chariots, and dragon skins are basically the main four. It doesn't take into account the really like lower level weapons. And it will tell you how many you need to sell and how much you will gain from it if it is profitable. Okay, next thing is looking at the battlefield. When attacking people, you want to make sure to always attack people who have a higher army size or TFF, total fighting force, than you do. Because of how the game works, attacking someone with a lower TFF or army size than you means you'll get a very, very small percentage of their gold. And that's just how the game works, right? So like if I'm 42,000 army size right now, if I attack this person with 8,700, I'm going to get a very small amount of their gold, you know, like hardly any. Whereas if they attack me, they're going to get almost all of the gold I'm holding if they can beat my defense because my army is bigger than theirs. So whenever you're attacking, just make sure that you're hitting people who have a bigger army than you do. Now this may make you think, well, why would I ever want to increase my army then? Well, first off, you obviously need soldiers to hold your weapons. You know, it's going to get to the point where you've bought so much stuff. If you keep your army so small, you won't have enough people to hold it. And then second, they generate income. So for all races except humans, one soldier generates 2 gold. And for humans, it generates 2.6 because humans get the 30% income bonus. So this adds up, guys, and this is why it's so important, and I keep saying this, but it really is. This is why it's so important to get your conscription upgrades and clicking or recruiting. Because just from my army, I am making 96,000 gold a minute, or almost 5.8 million gold every hour. And that's a lot. Now, even if you're not this size, even if you're someone, say, like a Flixian, who's just 5,000 soldiers, which he easily got by just clicking for a couple days and such. You know, in the script, again, this is something the script is showing, he's roughly making 500,000 gold an hour, which is not bad at all. Like, for very minimal effort, he's just passively making this every single hour, 24/7, which is why it's so good. So there's that to keep in mind. Yeah, so there's that. And then last, let's see, sabotaging and raiding. So sabbing is kind of the short term we use for it, is sabbing. Means sabotaging. So when you go to someone's page, you can sabotage them. And basically this destroys their weapons. Now, I'm not going to actually sab him because I have to come here and choose what I would want to sabotage and how much of it and how many spies to send. The more spies you send, the more chance you have of succeeding, but the higher losses you could potentially have if you fail. And you can lose spy weapons, spy tools by failing. Okay? Now, basically, this is something you never want to do unless you're at war, because this is pretty much an act of war and aggression. It's a very aggressive move, an act of aggression. But basically, this will destroy their weapon, whatever you select, if you succeed. If you do not succeed, then obviously they will see that you failed, and that'd be bad. And then you may lose some spies. You may lose, some spy tools. Now, the reason I mention this is because someone actually asked in my Discord, how do I tell someone sabotaged me? And this is where it gets interesting. If you go to your intelligence, you can see recons, and you can see failed sabotages. If someone successfully sabotages you, you will not see it. So if they are successful, you will have no idea who sabotaged you. And that's part of the thing. That's why, you want to have a high sentry rating. And obviously in war, and when alliances war each other, that's just the way it is. But if you do see sabotages in here, this means they failed. It could mean they succeeded too and you just didn't see those, but any in here are going to be failures. Next is going to be, and then rating, also on someone's page, if you go to raid them, I'm not going to do it because it may actually do it, but raiding them is kind of something you do in war. It takes way less turns, attack turns, so it's more turn efficient, but you don't get much gold. So why it's used for war is because when you attack someone or raid them, it actually kills off soldiers, but it also kills off spies and sentries. So people get mass raided because it'll kill off so many spies and sentries. You know, the people will not have enough to hold their tools, and then their ratings will go down, and then they have to train more, which takes gold and lowers their army size and decreases gold income. So normally, when we're not at war, you never want to raid, both because it's disadvantage for you because you don't get hardly any gold from it, and two, it's like very, very frowned upon unless you're at war. It's definitely like a major act of aggression. Pretty much with attacking also, you want to make sure when you go to attack someone that their defense is no more than 80% of your offense. So if you had 100,000 strike and they have like 80,000 defense, that's like the highest you want that ratio to be. If they're at like 85,000, 90, there's a very high likelihood you're not going to succeed and you're going to get a defended attack, which really makes people mad usually. So do keep that in mind. Now, obviously, you can manually calculate it. If you are using the script, there's a targets list. Mine's pretty much empty because I'm in a position where I can't really attack anyone. Or the farm list, it will tell you right here. Again, you will have many more people, but it will tell you right here what the percentage is. So you don't want anything over 80%. And last is, how do you see people's gold? Like I've mentioned before, these yellow numbers are the script basically saying this person had this amount of gold this long ago. But when it's white numbers like this, or if you're not using the script, it'll be question marks, basically where the yellow ones are. But the white ones are basically you being able to just straight up see how much gold they're having actively. And you do this by having 2 times, your spy rating being 2 times what their sentry rating is, or more, obviously. So if they have, say, 1 million sentry and you have 2.5 million spy, you're going to be able to see it. If you have 1.5 million spy, and they still have their 1 million sentry, you won't be able to see it actively. You can, of course, recon them. But this is how you see this. So, you know, getting a decent spy rating can be good. Also, just regardless of if you can see it or not, always do a reconnaissance mission on someone before you attack, even if you see they're holding gold, because you may not be sure if you can beat their defense at that moment. Numbers can change a lot in the game very quickly. So, unless you literally recon them like 2 minutes ago, and stuff, and they're still holding gold, you know, you want to make sure that they have gold and you can beat them. Lastly, I said lastly, but this is still the same topic. With that, that's why it's so important to have sentry rating, because it makes it very difficult for people to actively see your gold if your sentry is high enough. For example, mine is about 75 million. So someone would need 150 million spy to actively see my gold on the battlefield. And right now there's only about 2 people in the whole game who have that. Now obviously they can increase it and stuff, but that means that it stops you from getting attacked a lot. It makes you get attacked a lot less often because, you know, if people can't just, if, you know, everyone and their brother can't just look through and see your gold actively, you know, people have to recon, and if they can't actively see it, they may just not even bother. So having that high sentry rating can really help you kind of keep gold. Obviously you need defense and stuff too, but having it so people don't actively see it is really helpful. So that's going to cover it for this one, guys. It was a bit long, but I did want to cover these topics, which, you know, may not be very apparent, but are super helpful to know. And then the next video, we'll see what it is. Maybe some terminology, some more terminology. If you have any requests or anything for more tutorials for the game, if you're playing, obviously if you're not playing, none of this is relevant. But if you are playing, or you just joined or want to join or whatever, then definitely let me know what else you'd like to see. But that's going to do it for now. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'd love to have you come and join if you haven't and you're interested. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.